Hi, this is Jennifer, your course facilitator. I'm going to show you the solution to the challenge for the week. A couple of students had attempted this challenge and nobody got it exactly right. One student got very close, but nobody got the solution exactly right. And I'm going to show you how to do this because I really think you may find this useful for your Camtasia video or possibly even your user manual. The challenge was, if I have this image of these penguins and this image of this black laptop, can I produce this image such that it looks like the penguin's image is embedded within the screen? And by embedded, I mean make it such that the full laptop image and the full penguin, or most of the penguin image, show up exactly as I'd shown you, with all the shadowing on the outside here, the shadowing on the inside here, everything looking exactly that way. I said to use only Snagit Editor, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you using Snagit Editor how I did it. First, I'm going to open up my pictures inside the editor. So I had one located here. I'm going to open up the other one, which was located on my desktop, and it is right here. And before I do anything else, I'm actually going to change the zoom on my canvas so I can see exactly what's going on with the full images, and I use this magnifying zoom in, zoom out to do that. So let's just resize, not resize, but change the magnification. Okay, I see that my penguin image, by looking down here, I see it is a 1024 by 768 pixel size. My monitor, on the other hand, is larger, 1425 by 1219. Now what I am going to do is, this is the smaller image, so I'm going to keep my produced image no larger than that because I don't want to have to stretch this image at all. I want to be sure that this stays the same resolution, or that I can make it smaller, but I don't want to make it any larger. The trick here is knowing something about the image of this monitor. This monitor, if you look, has a background that is checkered and an inside of the monitor that's checkered. And in Snagit Editor and in other image editing tools typically, this means there's transparency going on. This means that if I placed an image behind this one, you could see that second image through this one. And that's very important for this task. What I'm going to do here is, I'm going to work with these two images, but I'm going to create a new canvas area to work with these images. I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to first off remember what my pixel size is, 1024 by 768. So I'm going to go to File and New, and I'm going to create a new image with those exact same dimensions. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag my laptop image up to that canvas. I am not going to enlarge my canvas image, so that now I have my laptop image here on top of this, but it's way too big. So I'm going to go to a corner of the monitor. Don't use the side shrinks because you'll distort the image. Use the corner areas and drag your laptop image so that it gets smaller so that it basically just fits inside your canvas area. And I'm not going to be completely exact here. I'm not going to make it exactly this size. I'm going to have it inside my transparent image. Now I'm going to pick up the penguin's image and drag it onto this area. And when I do, it actually would just fit here, but it's way too big to fit inside that monitor. So what I'm going to do is grab it by the corner and start shrinking it down, and I'm going to pull it up to the monitor area so that I can tell when it is just big enough that it will fit inside that monitor without showing in any other area. I'm not done yet though, because you can see, although yeah, it's sitting here on top of the monitor, it doesn't really look like it's embedded in that monitor screen. So at this point, I'm going to right click that penguin image, come down to Order, and send that penguin image backward. And when I do, I have solved my puzzle. The penguin image goes behind the monitor image, and it looks as though the penguins are sitting on that screen perfectly. I've still got my shadowing of the monitor, which is what I wanted. I've got my penguins sitting there, and everything looks really good. At that point, I can go to File, Save As, and I can save my image as a ping image. Be sure to save it as a ping to preserve transparency, and be sure that Use Transparency is checked off. And that's really all there is to it. At that point, you can put that in your video, you could put that in your user guide, and it would be this nice, perfect image. Now I'm going to show you something in Camtasia that's pretty similar to this, and you may find this extremely useful. If I'm in Camtasia and I've got, let's say I've got my canvas set to be 1280 by 720, I've got my penguins image, I've got my laptop image, and let's say even I've got a video sitting here, I can drop my penguins onto the timeline like you would normally do. Now you can see here my canvas is large and it's not the same dimensions as the penguin image, but what I can do is with the penguins, if need be, I can shrink it down to make it smaller to fit wherever I want on my canvas. And I'm also going to take my laptop image and drop it onto the timeline. You'll notice when that happens, it drops onto a new track. Now, what I'm going to do, I didn't start at time 0, and I'm going to choose both of these images and I'm going to drag them over to time 0, simply because that's where I should be starting. Okay, at that point you can see both images are selected, so I'm going to deselect both. Of course, now I need to do some good alignment. You can tell the penguins are behind the laptop, but things are not lined up well. So I'm going to choose the laptop image. I'm going to pull it over my penguins image, but I want to be sure that there aren't any little spaces here between the penguins and the monitor. So I'm going to pull this in by the corner to preserve the proper dimensions ratio. And that looks pretty good to me. Now what I'm going to do, because maybe I want to move this around the screen somewhat, currently if I do, all I'm pulling around is the monitor. So I'm going to line it back up the way I had it basically. And let's see, that's probably pretty good right there. I'm going to select both of these images on my screen. I'm going to right click and I'm going to select group. Now I have grouped those two images, and if I click this plus sign, you can see that they are inside that group. Now when I move this around, both images move at the same time. So maybe I want to center that on my canvas. And to do that, I just make sure I've got the yellow crosshairs popping up both horizontally and vertically. And at that point, I'm good to go. One other really quick trick is, let me ungroup this. I'm going to get rid of the penguins image, and what I'm going to do instead is drop a video in here. So I'm going to add this video to my timeline, and I'm going to actually move it down to track 1 because I know that the video to be seen inside the monitor has to be on a track below my monitor image. I'm going to stretch my monitor image out. And now what I'm going to do is click inside my timeline past time 0 so I can really see what's going on. I'm going to take my laptop image and position it maybe right there in the middle of my screen, but I want my video to only be playing in the monitor. So now I'm going to select the video. I'm going to change the size of it on the canvas, and I've actually moved this now. I don't want to do that. I want to keep it where it was. And this is something in Camtasia you just have to remember. You can lock your things you're not working on, but I'm just going to kind of play with it right now. And this is going to look pretty good. The one problem I have with these two elements is my monitor. You're going to see some black space here because the monitor size, the ratio is different than the ratio of the video. So I have this in pretty decent shape. If I want to maybe make this a little bit smaller, I will. I just want to be sure there's no extra space between the video and the monitor. Click outside. Now the video will look like it's playing right inside that monitor, which is really nice. If I want to be able to move this around the screen, I can select both of these, right click, select group, and now when I move this around, or if I resize this at all, both pieces will resize or move at the same time, which is really sweet, and you might want to try that with your video. And that's it. Thanks so much for listening.